Martin? Okay. Martin? Hey, Martin? You're muted. I just wanted.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
All right, perfect. I just wanted to test that. So, do you mind doing me a favor?
Sure, what?
Can you go on the YouTube just to see how the audio sounds there?
Yeah,
Thank you.
you bet.
And I will.
Okay, say something.
All right, I'm going to say something now. There's usually a slight delay with the YouTube, so just give it a minute. And I will.
Say something else, Niles, please.
Okay, I'll say something again. Say something now. There's usually a slight delay with the YouTube, so just give it a minute.
Yep, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Okay.
Yep.
Also, just as a aside for you, Martin, I did have the walkthrough today with the people to update the AV, which will happen next week. So
Oh, great.
I'm going to mute right now before we get started here.
Brian.
Hi, Martin.
Hello.
All right. So we'll get started here in just a second. I just want to make sure. Yeah. Okay. I will. Yeah, it was too far over the other way earlier, so I'm just trying to do.
You could just include you too, if you feel part of it.
Yeah. Well, for tonight, yeah. But. Okay, I'll go to, and James will be here too. Okay. Yep. So, yeah. So we'll introduce them in a second. But John and James are with the contractor for Verizon, who's doing who will be doing the actual work. So, once we get started, we'll get an opportunity to introduce you guys. So,
Yep, how you doing? I think James may or may not be on.
yeah, he's on right now. So, I think it'll be
I
fine.
think his Zoom made him do like an update.
With these meetings, I've learned to do it in the afternoon. So this afternoon, I update Zoom. I do everything
Yep.
like that.
Yep. Yeah, no, I just chose the browser option, so I went around that.
Yep, we're good.
Good evening. Welcome to the October 11th meeting of the Poolsville Planning Commission. Tonight's agenda. Assume there's no citizen comments, nobody queued up, nobody in the audience. Any announcements from staff?
The main thing is by the time of the next meeting, we should have the upgraded AV system in place. So just look forward to that for the November
Yeah.
meeting. So
Martin, is there anything from the commissioners?
I have nothing from the commissioners tonight, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Martin, question for you, for commissioners, or maybe for you as well. So, I think 2 meetings ago, we made that recommendation to the commissioners on the fees for the smaller properties. Did the commissioners pass that, and did they make any modifications to what we sent up to them? I'm just curious.
yeah, do you want to take that, or do you want me to answer that?
I couldn't really totally hear the question, but I suspect Chuck, are you talking about the
Impact
fees? Reduced impact fees. We did take it up, and Clerk Niles, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we adopted it. I don't know that the county was swayed either way by that, but anyway.
So the short answer is what the commissioners went through was to allow them to have the townhouse fee, because based on legal advice, the argument was that it had to have that rational nexus that we talked about a little bit. So that was what was given to them. It is still going to be that reduction of fee currently is in the draft PIA agreement, which would be where it would go. The county is, being the county, is probably the clearest way of saying that. So that's where we are right now. We had a discussion with Mr. Clifford about all of this a couple of weeks ago, so,
Thanks.
Yeah, Jay weighed in on that, and
yeah.
like Niles, alluded to, like we were advised that we couldn't just make an arbitrary fee. It kind of had to be like attached, like, you know, have some kind of a structure to it. So
Yeah.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Martin. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from the September 13th, 2023 meeting? Any questions, comments, or edits?
I motion that we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. On to new business.
Okay. So,
This is for the recommendation on special exception to modifications to 500,000 gallon water tower from Verizon.
yeah. So, just as we sort of discussed, under the code, any modification that increases the intensity of use of a wireless antenna must come before the planning commission as a special exception. And so, because of that, Verizon had to apply for a special exception, which will go to the Board of Appeals next week, next Wednesday. And so we should be able to go from there. And then, so based on that, I'm going to now read from John Strong's letter, so you can get a sense of where we are here, okay? Clark Azar has completed its review of the plan submitted by Verizon Project 5G LSUB6. The following are our comments, or Clark Azar's comments. The plan sheet will need to show the correct address, 19904 Wooten Ave. This was also something that came up with the letter to proceed as well. So we corrected it in the letter. We've asked them to correct it in the letter, and we'll correct it on the plans. This project consolidates some of the carrier locations to of the tower to the top of the tank. This location will be similar to the previous placement of some of the antennas. The plan additions to the tower will require some additional supports to the legs and existing diagonal support. The applicant has supplied engineered plans and structural calculations sealed by a Maryland registered engineer. The Planning Commission should make a recommendation to the Board of Zoning Appeals for this project. Based upon this submittal received, we recommend approval of the submitted plan. And then I just want to add just a note before we go to John and James, that in the process of this review, there is some physical structures that will be changed on the bracing to support the new antennas. So there will be some physical change to the tower itself. And then the last thing to note is just that the equipment to be removed is 9 existing antennas and 6 existing remote radio heads. What will be added is 12 new antennas and the new remote radio heads as well. And that concludes my report. And then, John, do you have anything you want to add?
So just to add your note about the address, we are getting that updated on the plans. I requested that today when I saw this letter. So we should have that. I was expecting it back before the end of the day. So first thing tomorrow, I'll send those over to you. And I think that was the final item that you needed from me. And I think you hit all the other points, every other note that I had. So unless you guys have questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any of them.
How many new remote radio heads did you say they're adding?
So it's going to be just, it's the same number, is my understanding, that there's 6 existing and they're going to be replacing them, is my understanding. But, John, can you speak to that? Is it going to be, how many total radio heads will be on there?
Yeah, so we originally removed off 6 when we removed that the mount structure at the top where Verizon is located and AT&T is located. Specifically, for Verizon, there were 6 radio heads originally, and we're going to put up 6 to this new mounting structure that Niles had described. It for all intents and purposes, the mount structure is the same as it was before. The old one just has some cracks in it. So we had our engineers design one just like it, the previous one, and there really aren't any changes to it. It's being welded by a general contractor to the same base plates that it was on before. So visually, there really shouldn't be any changes.
Martin, any questions?
I don't. I mean, I read the document over, and it all seems pretty straightforward. And had a brief conversation with Wade about it, and yeah, I think it's seems straightforward to me.
Okay.
I move that we recommend to the Board of Zoning Appeals that we proceed with the special exception 001-23 for the modification to the $500,000 gallon water tower for Verizon. What?
No. I've done the same thing in talking about this, where 500,000 makes you think that it's money, but
Yeah.
no, it's gallons.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Good luck with the Board of Zoning Appeals.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
Of course. Thank you.
I'll move on to old business. Whoops. And then there's one more item on the agenda.
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a good night, folks. Thanks, Martin.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you again.
7:10.